and we are then going to get ready with the Curse of the Horned One. Winds of Magic 5, is that enough? Maybe. Let's boost it. Hello Reformers, and welcome back to Warsword Conquest, and Slythe is here once again, actually taking on a little bit of Wood Elf here. As you can see, this fellow has actually been taken prisoner by us in the past, and well, we're gonna try and take him prisoner again. Now, you'll see on screen right now that this is a small clip of what happened while I was waiting for the Empire to make their decision about whether they were going to, you know, actually attack us, and they decided against it. They decided to retreat, and personally I feel like that's probably a good idea on their part, because their numbers were starting to dwindle so much that they were beginning to be outnumbered themselves in terms of, you know, battle advantage, because we do have a significant amount of tactics skill. And any further losses that they would have had would definitely have caused them to probably end up losing in general. And if they had become any weaker, I probably would have gone in and taken them out on the fields of battle, because in general I'd probably prefer to tackle them on the field rather than in siege. But I guess it doesn't really matter, you know, in the grand scheme of things. You know, if you're going to win a battle, then you're going to win a battle, whether that's a siege or whether that's a battlefield battle. Anyway, I don't know whether you can hear, but I am currently a bit sick. I do have a little bit of a sore throat, and it hurts quite a lot actually, but we're gonna just soldier on as we do, and you know, keep calm and soldier on, and so on and so forth. Anyway, we're gonna try and oh yeah, this is not exactly great. We need to get our infantry over here as quickly as possible. I was very much wanting to make sure that our archers and our gunners were doing their very best. I'm gonna just give Blessed with Filth here. I'm gonna try and use Vermintide to stop their cavalry. That was actually a tip from someone in the comments. I do very much appreciate that, because that means that we are able to use, shall we say, expendable units in a way that will give us a tactical advantage, and that's exactly what I want to see. You know, I want to see these kinds of things, and that's also a reason why I'm probably going to try and buy an additional spell very soon, because we almost have, I don't think I've spent my points actually just yet from my level up from the previous episode. So once I spend those points, I think we should be able to, well, maybe we'll be able to use some very powerful magic. Manage? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, point is, we're probably going to get something pretty cool from the Warlock's Guild, and yeah, as you can see, that was a very easy battle indeed. We did actually lose quite a few people, but I am quite pleased to see that most of the clan rats that we summoned through the use of Vermintide were eliminated, which means that they absorbed a lot of damage for units that we potentially are going to keep. And so, you know, that's pretty cool in my opinion. Otherwise, there's only 65 there. We gained 10 renown from that battle, which is pretty awesome. Otherwise, we are gaining some rescued prisoners, which are always going to be very nice indeed. We're going to be placing these into our garrison. And you can see here that I actually do have a little bit of cash. I did do some salt trading, by the way. Went to Bloodhorn, I believe it's called. And then I went to the Pirate King Fortress to sell off the salt that was there. And wow, they actually have a pretty supreme amount of loot. Wow, this is kind of crazy. Okay, let's go for all of this. Well, not all of it, but most of it. And there we go. This is where we currently are. I've been, you know, pursuing a couple of wood elves and things, but I haven't really fought too many people at the moment, because mostly I'm just trying to level up forces, just trying to get our garrison back up to full capacity, or as full as it can be at the very least, because you can see here that we have how many? 500. Yeah, we had about 700 in the garrison beforehand, and I am sending off units to be recruited through caravans, and I have done that. So hopefully that is going to be returning relatively soon. And of course, I think where's my patrol, by the way? I thought I actually got a patrol. I thought I recruited a patrol, and I was going to speak to it and get it to go into the garrison here, but it seems like maybe that is not happening. But I guess it's going to take a couple more days for us to get the recharge on that. And otherwise, I've just been waiting here for some time because I do have a couple of gutter runners and things that I wanted to turn into Eshin assassins, because obviously those guys are pretty amazing. Anyway, now that we have 15 strength, it would make quite a bit of sense for us to continue doing our intelligence, and we'll get, you know, magic and tactics and all these things to maximum levels. And someone actually suggested leveling up first aid, and that's actually a pretty good point, because I don't know whether you noticed, but in the previous episode when I did get myself, you know, somewhat eliminated in the amazing siege defense that we had, I didn't have someone that was providing first aid because everyone was eliminated. And while I would potentially be the one to get eliminated myself, it might make more sense because I have healing potions available. So I think I'm actually going to go for 2 points in first aid. We might go for a couple more, but the next level of intelligence is going to get us to 9 magic and 9 pathfinding, which I'm probably going to be doing no matter what. And also, thank you very much to all the people that actually said in the comments on the previous episode what dodge and ignore pain take into account. You know, what their calculations actually are. Because that's very helpful indeed. And apparently, strength and I think it's athletics, which we have nothing of, actually do have an effect on your dodge roll as well as your encumbrance. And you can see by my inventory here that my encumbrance is only 10, so we should have a pretty decent dodge with that, with the exception of our athletics skill. Our athletics is absolutely awful, so I think I probably need to do something about that. Well, that's not very good, is it? No. I was traveling around the Skaven Underworld when one of my prisoners just managed to escape. That reminds me, we have started construction on another piece of, well, another piece of infrastructure, I guess you could call it, yeah. And that is in our town, of course, and basically what's happening there is I'm building a messenger post. Someone also recommended building a messenger post. Usually I don't build these things because I don't feel like the AI moves fast enough to really make it worth it, but I suppose getting a good, what shall we say, head start on a warning is a pretty good thing to do, especially considering we only have 2 thieves in our current faction that will be capturable by the enemy. So getting some kind of advanced warning is probably a good idea, at least for the most part at the moment. Now, what I also would like to do here, and there's a reason why we're fighting pirates, by the way, they have 39 or somewhere around there prisoners. And as a result, well, you can kind of imagine what we're going to be getting out of it. We're going to be getting a much greater garrison force, and I'm going to try and use Wither if I can. Let me see if I can... Yeah, there we go. Yes, it's actually working quite well there. Not all of them were afflicted by it, unfortunately, but you can see that these pirates, they really are just extremely outclassed by all of our wonderful gunners. And, wow, they're just insane. They are really, really insane. And yeah, I'm actually very close by to a Skaven town as well, so we'll be able to take a look at some of the new shiny spells. These are all of the rescued prisoners, by the way. Alright, so it seems like we have Nagrat coming back from a small task that I gave him, because I thought to myself, okay, well, if they're not going to agree to a non-aggression treaty, and they're not going to accept my good wishes from one monarch. Yes, I said it badly on purpose this time. Anyway, yes, if we're not going to have good relations with them in general, then what can we do to try and improve that? I thought to myself, okay, yes, probably sending a gift. So I sent a gift of 6,000 gold worth of horses. And I don't know whether you noticed in the text log there, but it basically gave me 5 increased relation. And so we now have about 6 with them, or 5, or something like that. And yeah, suffice it to say, I'm a bit annoyed by that, actually, because I thought to myself, that might give me relation with the liege themselves, but it seems like that's not the case. So that is a little annoying, because I might have to do a couple of tasks. Can I even do tasks for him anymore? I don't think I can do tasks for him anymore, but maybe I can help him out in battle or something like that, because apparently I am going to need much more advanced relation with the liege to be able to get a non-aggression treaty or something along those lines. So it's going to take me a bit of time to do that, and being able to express goodwill between each other is going to be a thing that I really need to concentrate on as well, because that will give us right to rule. That will give us 10 right to rule. Now, there is a unique mechanic in... wait a minute. There we go. That's where I want to go. Visit the Warlock's Guild. Yes, anyway. There is a unique mechanic in Warsword Conquest that I think is implemented. I think it is implemented because I saw a post. Someone actually posted something on, you know, from the ModDB page. It was a link. And basically it gave us an insight into the system regarding reputation in Warsword Conquest. And if your reputation is in the negatives as a Skaven or as a quote-unquote evil faction or evil member of something, then you are going to be much more revered by your allies and by people that have a similar mindset. And if you are, you know, on the good side of things, then having a positive relation, or a reputation in this case, is a much better thing as well. And I noticed something very interesting indeed on that post. That was, if you have minus 50 reputation as an evil faction member, you will gain periodically some right to rule as you continue through the game. And I think that that is an absolutely amazing system. Now, if only I could reduce my reputation somehow. I'm not entirely sure how to do that, considering evil races do not necessarily have the opportunity to reduce reputation through raiding villages and things like that. So I'm not entirely sure how to do that, but I guess we'll find out at some point. Anyway, as you can see right here, this is a thing that we are going to need very much so. I think this is going to be pretty amazing. So I am actually going to buy this. It is going to require magic competency level of 10. And magic access is level 5. So I'm not entirely sure if we can use that right now. And turning an enemy into an ally for 30 seconds, that sounds pretty good, and we can already technically do that, but turns an enemy into an ally for 30 seconds. I guess we can use that on some very hardy units and try to get them to help us. Okay, we're gonna use that, I think. We're gonna get that first, and then we are going to try that out in a battle relatively soon. Now, moving on from our small stint in that town there to, you know, have that wonderful new spell, we are going to help out this Skaven Underworld patrol. This is obviously going to help us out in many ways. One of the ways is, of course, gaining a little bit of relation with the Skaven. Another way is gaining the rescued prisoners from the Forest Goblin army. And the last way is trying out that spell. So let's see if I can make good use of it. Oh yes, these are goblins, so they are very fast, aren't they? They're very fast and very quick in what they do. So let me see if I can... Madness, there we go. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to get a unit to join me. No, that did not work. That did not work at all. I am very good at this. Oh, but it does... Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's super nice. It actually gives you a reduced cooldown if you happen to miss. That's cool. Okay, I like that. I like that. I think that is a pretty cool quality of life change, because that makes it much, much easier. Oh, look at that. There we go. We did get a Scalp Taker. Oh, yes. Has cast Madness. Scalp Taker has become our ally. Very nice. Okay, so we do see a couple of errors there, but I don't think that's actually anything to worry about. Personally, I don't think we need to really worry about that. I'm going to take a healing potion. And I've remembered. I remember to take a healing potion. Can you believe it? Kind of amazing, I know. But, you know, don't fall off your chairs. Don't fall off your chairs. It's, I know it's very shocking. Very shocking indeed that I remember to take that. Anyway, other than all of what we've been doing so far, I am going to be getting Ugluk a shield, hopefully a pretty decent shield, and I have started leveling Aketi in leadership, because I think he might make a good vassal eventually, and maybe Bjorg would make a good vassal as well. I'm not entirely sure, but he, by he I mean Aketi, comes with a very large amount of charisma, and I thought to myself, well, come on, we've got to do something with that. And there you go, Skaven Underworld from 5 to 9, and we do have a good amount of rescued prisoners. And we tried out Madness as well, and I think... Actually, oh yeah, there's also another reason why I'm in Skaven territory, of course, and that's picking up some salt. So I think what we're going to do is, with the exception of picking up a couple of pieces of loot, the loot is really not very good. That's also a thing that I need to focus on as well. We need to get some person that is actually really good at looting, because I actually don't have someone that is good at that. So that's pretty bad. Oh, Corn Deathbringers. Wow. How many how many ears of corn do they have? Ah, yeah, okay. We had to do it. Ah, here we go. There are our wages. I thought I would just show you exactly what's going on with our wages right now. I did take out 10,000 from our treasury just to level up my units and to have a little bit of spending money to invest in buying salt and so on and so forth. And so we are now here at 2,700 profit. And yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think that's okay. But you can see here exactly the display of, you know, what we're actually doing with all of our enterprises and, you know, what kind of spread we have on them. They're not exactly great, let's face it. We haven't really done a very good job with that. I think it's okay. I mean, you know, it's doing fine, but the die works at Skaven Blight is not great. You can see that, 370. And that is pretty bad for such a massive investment that we made at the time. Our investment was what, 12,000 or something like that, and having an investment of that and then getting 360, 370 per week, that's pretty awful. That is pretty awful. So what we're going to do now is I've actually bought all the salt from the Skaven, and we are going to be selling it at Great Horn, and this is going to be very good in my opinion. So let's see how much we're going to be getting from it. And I think from this, we are probably going to be heading back and actually buying the other spell. We're going to be buying the Curse of the Horned Rat, and we're going to see whether it actually does work, because obviously it says magic access level of 5, so technically we should be able to use it. But being able to use it 100% of the time and being, you know, having a good success rate, that probably is the, you know, the level 10 thing. So I think we should be okay, personally. And I did just get another Dark Elf to add to our ranks as well. Alright, so here we go. We're going to be spending 5,700 on the Curse of the Horned One. That's actually not the Horned Rat, but it would make sense if it was the Horned Rat. Anyway, Curse of the Horned One, and it is an AoE aura. So that means I need to be pretty close to enemies to be able to use it. It has a cooldown time of 180 seconds. Hopefully if I don't hit anyone, it will actually give me a bit of leeway there, but probably not, probably not. Anyway, let's just continue to move on here. And what I'm going to be doing on my way back to Karak-Hern, because I think there might be something going on there, or at the very least, we will have a couple of people in the area to do damage against. Seems like no one is declaring war against us any further. That's pretty nice. But yes, as I make my way back, I'm going to be attempting to recruit as many units as possible. What do we have here? Oh yes, we have another Wood Elf, and he's deciding to stick around a little bit too long, and hopefully he will provide some much needed experience for our newly recruited Skaven slaves, and hopefully there aren't too many of those in this particular battle, because they're gonna die. I think they're probably gonna die pretty easily. Anyway, let's have a look and see what is actually going on. Seems like this is a you know what, fighting near Karak-Hern is a really weird experience, because most of the time we have just these ludicrous mountains. And while it does provide for a much more dynamic and interesting experience in terms of, you know, fighting on a battlefield of some kind, then it's you know, it's all very well and good, but it does make positioning a little bit hard. And yeah, obviously it is going to be much more interesting than just a flat battlefield. And of course, if we are up against cavalry, then well, a flat battlefield is going to be our worst nightmare, unless they decide not to charge, obviously. Anyway, let's have a look and see what I can cast here. So I can cast this Curse of the Horned One, but it probably will not work 100% of the time, as I explained earlier. Hopefully we'll get a high Winds of Magic roll, and then I will be able to get the highest possible chance for it to work. And it seems like they're coming over that way, so I'm actually kind of happy that we made our way up here, because that means we have a pretty decisive advantage. They're coming down the hill and it's slowing them as they go down, and we are, well, yeah, We are just absolutely murdering everything. Of course, that's what we like to see. And I do actually have a couple of cavalry here, so I do need to not neglect them. And yeah, this is pretty good. Winds of Magic 1. That's not so good. But what we're going to do is we're going to also cast Vermintide as well. Probably going to cast that first, just to provide a small buffer between some of our units here. If I need it. Do I need it? Maybe. Probably will. Okay, so I'm just going to cast this right here. There we go. And we're going to tell our infantry to charge in, because these guys are infantry, of course. And we are then going to get ready with the Curse of the Horned One. Winds of Magic 5, is that enough? Maybe. Let's boost it. There we go. Okay, so I did it. I have no idea what that actually did, but let's have a look, shall we? I don't really mind dying here. What did it actually do? Oh, I can't see any of the messages. I'm kind of sad now. I can't see any of the messages up there because it actually told me what exactly I did with that particular spell, but from what I know about it, which is not that much, but just the description, it turns enemy units into Skaven, as far as I'm aware. So that is pretty awesome in more ways than one. And I don't know whether it's... Is it a magic missile, so I can actually stay at range or something? Because as far as I was aware from the description, it does tend to have a pretty short range. So I thought, oh, I need to get close. But maybe me getting close was not exactly the greatest idea. But you can see here that our allied casualties, Master Molders, for example, and Gunners, and veteran gutter runners and things like that, you're not going to get that from Vermintide. You're going to get a couple of clan rats, maybe some black rats and things from Vermintide. So maybe our other spell managed to turn the other fellows into these things. So that's pretty cool. Let's tell our people just to charge in right there. We do have, well, extremely good outnumbering of the opponent. Then we only lost one Skaven slave. He did manage to escape, however, which is, you know, just how it goes sometimes. Otherwise, let's get some rescued prisoners, if I can actually click on the hire button appropriately, and let's get a couple of captured enemies too. Yeah, the loot is really awful. I do need to get a looter, don't I? I do need to get someone that has good looting skill. Does no one have looting? No, Bjork has good looting. Look at that. He's got 6 looting, so we're just getting bad loot just randomly. You know, that's just how it goes sometimes. Anyway, let's have a look at our recent messages, and we're going to take a look and see. There we go. Blade Singer has transformed into a Scryer Gunner, Glare Rider has transformed into Gutter Runner, Guardian into Night Runner, Veteran Gutter Runner. So yeah, it actually worked really, really well, with the exception of me getting, well, kind of murdered in the process. Affected enemy troops will turn into allied Skaven if they fail the Iron Flesh test. Well, pretty happy with that, because most units, well, most units, I'd say, are not going to be having Iron Flesh 8. They're going to be very special units indeed if they have Iron Flesh 8, so we don't have to worry too much about it failing too much. Anyway, there you go. So we have gained 2 new companions, some Dark Elves right there, and Katja has leveled up, which is pretty fantastic, because that means that she will be able to spec into Surgery, Wound Treatment, and we will get a little bit more in everything. I mean, her firearm skill is actually pretty good now, so I think she's going to be quite deadly from range. And, oh yeah, you know what? I should have leveled up her engineering, shouldn't I? I probably should have leveled up that. But surgery and wound treatment's pretty important as it is, so I guess that's okay. Anyway, I think that will be it for this episode. As I said, I am feeling a little bit unwell, and so I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.